Hi everyone! So I did a video a couple of weeks ago showing you how to use your Castle Arts pastel tint and harmonious pencils in conjunction with your Prismacolor Premier, just to get some of those different lighter and deeper tones that you can add in and expand your colours. A lot of people ask me to do a Polychromos version because, as we know, the Faber-Castell Polychromos do have an awful lot of deep dark colours, but not very many light tints. And that's where the pastel tint and harmonious pencils come in and give us all of those lighter shades that we really need in the Polychromos set. So the first one is the beige red, which used to be called Light Flesh. You might have that pencil, you might have the newer beige red. And we're combining this with the peach cream from the pastel tint set. So the beige red is the lightest colour in Polychromos of a peach. A lot of people use it for skin tone, and it still is fairly deep, even though it's the lightest colour they've got. So the peach cream is a perfect match to the undertone of the beige red. And that's what I've been doing all the way through this chart, is really trying to keep the undertone of the colours the same. And hopefully I've succeeded in that. The next one is Polychromos Coral and the pastel tint Blushing Rose. There's not that much between these two colours, and I don't know how much the camera is going to show you the difference between the two. There's only a couple of shades, but it definitely makes a difference if you're going to go straight from the Blushing Rose into the previous blend of the beige red peach cream. So you could do a 4-colour blend: Coral, Blushing Rose, beige red, peach cream, and that would make a really gorgeous corally peachy blend for you there. The next one is the Polychromos Pink Madder Lake and the pastel tint Foxglove. So what I've tried to do on all of these, as I said, is to keep the undertone the same. And I've tried to take from my Polychromos family chart the lightest colours in each family and then find an even lighter version of them. So that's what I'm doing here. That's why Polychromos is usually always first in these blends. It's the darker colour, even though it's the lightest one they've got in their families. So the Foxglove is a really beautiful pink that has the same undertone as the Pink Madder Lake. And yeah, it's a lovely blend. The next one is the Polychromos Magenta pencil. We are using 3 pencils for this blend because I found 3 of the perfect undertone for each other. So we've got the Polychromos Magenta, the pastel tint Jelly Bean, and the harmonious Calamine pencils. The Magenta and the Jelly Bean are a beautiful match. The Calamine is quite a few shades lighter than the Jelly Bean, so you might have to just do some very light layers of the Jelly Bean when you come in to put the Calamine on top. Otherwise it might not blend as well, but it is, again, the same undertone and it's a lighter version. The next one is the Polychromos Manganese Violet, and this one sits in the middle of the blend because I found a colour that was the same undertone but darker and the same undertone but lighter. So I've put the Manganese Violet in the middle. We've got the Antique Violet from the Harmonious set as the deeper colour, and the Wild Berry, again from the Harmonious set, as the lighter version of that Manganese Violet. Then we've got Polychromos Crimson, which I've teamed with the pastel tint Tickle Pink. Again, don't know how many times I can say this, but it is the same undertone, it's just lighter. And again, it's just giving you options that aren't currently available in the Polychromos pencils. I really wish that they would extend their set up to 150 because I'm sure they would bring in all of these beautiful light tones. So in the meantime, we've got to make do with other sets. I should also mention that these Polychromos tend to work a bit better with the Castle Arts pencils than the Prismacolor did. If I remember rightly, these 2 Castle Arts sets are oil-based, I think. So that's probably why they work better. Could be wrong, could be remembering the wrong thing, but they seem to blend a lot nicer anyway. The next blend is, again with the Polychromos in the middle, it's the Polychromos Light Red Violet. The Harmonious Sour Berry is a shade or 2 deeper than that, and the Harmonious Plum is a shade or 2 lighter. It looks very similar on the screen, but you know, once it's in front of you in real life, you can see that this is a gradiated blend. It's just not as obvious or as contrasting as some of the other blends are. Then we've got the Polychromos Violet, which is the lightest of the violet purples in the Polychromos set. Now, Polychromos used to have a light violet pencil, which I actually have. It's not very good. I think that's why they discontinued it. It doesn't lay down very well. But that means that we don't have a really light purple or a light violet. And that's where the pastel tint Wisteria pencil matches beautifully with the Polychromos Violet. And we've now got that really light purple that we need. Next up, we've got the Polychromos Blue Violet. So we're moving into the more blue side of the purple range. And then we've got the Harmonious Purple Dusk, which again, undertone absolutely perfect for the blue violet. And it's just giving you more options. Then we've got the Polychromos Cobalt Blue, which again is the lightest colour in that family. And the Pastel Tint Blue Mist. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. You can see it with your own eyes. It is a really, really nice blend. Then we've got Polychromos Sky Blue, which again is the lightest of the blues in that family. And the Harmonious Cumulus pencil, which is just perfect. It's a perfect blend. Then we've got the Polychromos Light Phthalo Blue with the Harmonious Duck Egg pencil. So the Phthalo Blue, it's starting to creep in slightly to the green. It's definitely more blue than it is green, but it's starting to creep towards the green. So the duck egg really works with the light phthalo blue. Then there's the Polychromos Cobalt Green, which is definitely moving into the greens now. Still quite a lot of blue in there, but it's the opposite. It's on the opposite side. So the Cobalt Green pairs really well with the Pastel Tint Delphinium colour. It's perfect. And then we've got the Polychromos Light Phthalo Green, and this pairs with the Pastel Tint Green Flower. Again, not much of a shade difference, but when you've got it in front of you, you can see that it is definitely the lighter version of the Light Phthalo Green. Then we've got Polychromos Earth Green, which is a really desaturated greyish green. It's beautiful, it's very unusual, and that pairs with the Harmonious Pale Apple pencil. Now this next one is one that I was a little bit on the fence about. It's the Polychromos Light Green and the Pastel Tint Daylily. Now the Daylily is lighter than the light green. However, it is a little bit more greyish and desaturated. So depending on what kind of blend you're trying to achieve, what kind of colour, this might work really well for you. It definitely makes the light green more of a neutral than, you know, if you went in there with a yellow chartreuse, you'd be getting a really bright yellowish finish to that blend. Whereas this calms it down a bit. It's more of like a natural sort of apple colour. And the last one is the Polychromos Cinnamon and the Pastel Tint Rosa. So the cinnamon is, again, just one of those pencils that is really handy for an awful lot of things, skin tone, earth, all that kind of stuff. And again, it is the lightest of its kind in the Polychromos. So we've now got the Rosa, which is, I think it was put in with the oranges in the pastel tint set, but it's definitely got that lovely, warm, almost burnt brown tone to it. So it pairs really, really well. So that's the end. Again, I've just taken all of the lightest colours out of the colour family chart that I made for the Polychromos, and I've found even lighter versions for you to use. So I really hope this is helpful. The chart blank will be in the description for you to print off, absolutely free as always. Print it off, fill it in, let me know what you think, and maybe some other colours would have worked well that you can think of. Let me know. I love to hear from you, and I really hope you found it useful. So I will see you very soon on Colour with Claire.